Are you wondering which Ultra Robo Vacuum is going to be the best for mopping and vacuuming? Well, let me introduce you to the DREAME Aqua 10 Ultra in white and the Mova Z60 Ultra in black, because both of them are going to be very similar, but they have a lot of differences between them as well. And I've tested both the DREAME and the Mova for 1 month each in my house, over 25-30 sessions, over 1200 minutes each, and I can come with you and tell you what the differences are and why you might want to pick one over the other. First, let's start with the Robo Vacuums, because when you put the Robo Vacuums side by side and you forget about the clean station design and looks, they basically look very similar. If we're just listing the obstacle avoidance hardware on both of these units, the Mova Z60 is coming with those dual line lasers, and it comes with the RGB camera, the AI, the LED, and the retractable LiDAR up top. So it's basically coming with an advanced sight system so it can accurately map what's in front of it. And even though it doesn't have the same sight lines you see on the DREAME Aqua 10, because the DREAME Aqua 10 is coming with not just the OmniSight 2.0, so it's the DREAME Aqua 10 is coming with the OmniSight 2.0 dual HD AI cameras. So those are going to be more wide set, so it builds a wider field of view at 160 degrees. It uses that 3D structure light, something that your Mova Z60 does. They both have that LED, and they both come with that retractable LDS up top. And your DREAME Aqua 10 is able to recognize up to 240 obstacles versus 200 obstacles on your Mova Z60. Is that going to be a big difference between the two? No, but that also means the DREAME, because it has the NVIDIA chips, has a bigger database than what you get with the Mova. But that additional computing power as well as decision making from the inclusion of that NVIDIA chip inside the Aqua 10 also gives the Aqua 10 some headaches, because it's always trying to make decisions versus something like the Mova Z60, which is basically trusting its navigation similar to the tried and true systems that DREAME is already using in their X50 as well as their L50, that it just has a simpler time just deciding should it go over obstacles and should it go left and right. That is something that the DREAME, the Aqua 10, has a more difficult time making because it's trying to factor in more factors inside of its decisions. Let's go straight into their overall mopping performance. This is going to be on the DREAME Aqua 10, and both units are using a roller mop in order to pick up and extract the liquid or whatever is on your floor. The roller mop is going to be more effective than the spin mops or some flat pad mops that you see on other robo vacuums. I wouldn't read too much on the 18N amount of pressure that your DREAME puts on the floor, and that's because you have to decide and put it in an intensive mode. So it will automatically adjust, or you will decide how much pressure it actually places on the floor. And if you see the performance here, it actually had to do 2 runs for this chocolate syrup, something that our Mova Z60 could do in just 1 run. But I did something a little bit even more extreme. So our Mova Z60, I'm going to do 2 times the amount of material. That means more chocolate milk, more syrup, and see if it leaves any of the crumbs or any of the remnants here. And we're going to also let it do 2 runs so that it's going to have to empty its tank, come back, clean, empty its tank again, because the dirty tank is going to fill up quickly. But in the entire process, the Mova Z60 was able to remove not just only the stain, but it was able to empty itself, clean itself, and have a clean roller mop pad at the end. And these type of extreme tests really just show you the limits of these roller vacuum machines, because they're gonna be better than any of the other robo vacuums at picking up stuff off your floor and mopping your floors, but they're not gonna be as good as a regular wet dry vacuum would be, because they're gonna be dedicated to just mopping your floors on its own. Nevertheless, the Z60 did a great job, and the DREAME Aqua 10 still was able to reliably mop your floors, but I did notice that our Aqua 10 was more prone to leaks, not just on the roller mop pad, but also when it goes into its clean station. So the Mova was just doing a better job just keeping everything together, and it had less leaks than what we noticed from our DREAME. If you're talking about the overall vacuuming performance, both are going to be very good. They both weigh close to about 13 pounds. Your DREAME Aqua 10 is going to have 30,000 pascals of suction, which is 2 pascals more than what the max suction is going to be on your Mova Z60. But honestly, you're really not going to be utilizing 30,000 or 28,000 pascals with either one of these robo vacuums. It's just not practical. In most applications, you're going to be using these at somewhere between 6, maybe even 4 to 8,000 pascals of suction. But that's going to be more than enough so that it can pick up everything off your floors. And both units do a good job using its side brush roll that you can leave active all the time, so that it's going to be doing a better job sweeping your floors and getting debris inside of the unit and then leaving it out where the corners are. So both of them were very reliable. They both did a good job picking everything up. And both units are going to be very good for rugs, carpets, different types of floors for vacuuming. And it really comes down to they're so heavy. The brush rolls are large. The side brush is always active if you want it to be. And it's just going to do a good job picking up things off your floor because it has a very powerful for a robo vacuum motor. But now it's time to check out the differences between both units by actually comparing the robo vacuums physically against each other. Compare the Mova to the DREAME from above. They basically have the same design. So you can see that the turret is coming with an LED ring on the Mova, and it comes with a 2-button LED ring on the DREAME. And when you take off the top covers, so this is going to be the magnetic cover. This is the other magnetic cover. Both are magnetic. And you compare it side by side here, you can see that the location of the dustbin is also the same, as well as the location of the reset Wi-Fi button on top right here. And then if you take out the dustbins, not a big difference in the dustbin design either. They have the same exact dustbin side by side. I do notice a difference between them. There's no difference in the size. Now, with that said, you cannot interchange the dustbin from your DREAME into the Mova. It won't fit, but the dustbins themselves are very similarly designed. And when you look at the bottoms of each unit from above, they also look very similar, but there's going to be some major differences between the two. So first off, if you're looking at the Aqua Series 10, you notice that it's easy to take out the roller brush bar because you could just press this and the roller brush bar is going to be completely out. You can also then remove the fluffer brush. It's not ideal because if you compare it to the Mova doesn't just come with the ability to pop out the roller. So this is a, we use this for about 6 weeks here already, so it's kind of dirty, but it's just to show you. So I took out my roller bar. One of the big differences is on your Mova Z60, you have the ability to remove the shield for your roller bar, as well as you have an easy button to remove the fluffer brush. So this is going to just pop out and there's going to be a clip that you can just lock this back in to keep it into place, and same thing for your shield. On your DREAME, it does not have that. This is all going to be pretty much one sealed system, so it's not as easy to clean out. This doesn't have a clip, so you're just going to press that in. But both of them will come with just about the same mechanism for the actual wet-dry vacuum part. So they have this motor here that can be popped upward, and that's going to rotate the roller bar. So on the Mova, you have this type of detangling combs that are built on the inside, and you have thicker detangling combs, but are going to be on the top of your DREAME on the roller bar right here. If you're looking at the wheel configuration for your Aqua 10 and your Mova Z60, they both come with that triple wheel AgiLift Chassis lifting system. So it's going to have 2 wheels, right? Actually 3 wheels. They have a wheel inner wheel and a above wheel, so that it can not just pop itself up, it can pull itself forward. This is going to be particularly useful if you have high thresholds, but like I was saying, if you look at the overall design, because they're so heavy, because both weigh close to about 13 pounds total, when it picks itself up, it's going to have a lot of thrust to push itself forward. So if any of this area here, gets stuck or it bangs into your threshold, it's going to start damaging not only the unit, but it's going to damage actually your threshold, because this has a lot of push to the unit. And the same thing with the Mova. You really want to limit the threshold height to about 2 inches maximum. And the Mova is coming with the updated track wheel, so you can see how updated it is because it's a different pattern. It's irregular versus the regular track wheels you get on the DREAME. In terms of which one does a better job, I feel like the Mova has better traction because of this design over what you get on the DREAME, but I don't notice a big difference between both. If you're taking a look at their side brushes, not a big difference between the DREAME and the Mova Z60. And if you take a look at their main brushes, this is both going to use the Hyperstream Detangling Auto Brush. So this is going to be better specifically for detangling pet hair. And both of these systems are going to be able to pick themselves up and down depending on what surface they're on. Now with that said, there's going to be two major differences that affect the overall vacuum experience between the Mova and the DREAME. So Mova shifted the exhaust to the side of the Z60 here versus on the bottom like you see on the DREAME. The DREAME does not have that side exhaust. That side exhaust is actually going to be on the bottom of your Aqua 10. But the biggest performance difference in terms of vacuuming that I've noticed will come from just this little piece right here. On your Mova Z60, it comes with a rubber stopper. So as this vacuums, everything that's going to be touching this is going to be pulled into the mouth. So it's kind of like a shield that brings everything into the mouth of your RoboVacuum so it can suck it up. Your DREAME does not come with that. So it doesn't have the same performance on this side where it can just pull in the crumbs into the center of your DREAME like your Mova does. So this rudimentary, the simple thing, this rubber stopper is actually probably the biggest performance maker difference between your DREAME and the Mova when it comes to vacuuming. But you can see that both of the main brushes on the DREAME and the Mova can rise and fall depending on what floor it's on and what it decides. So this can go up and down. And that's actually something that's very useful when it's trying to apply more pressure or more vacuuming pressure on your floors, as well as to dodge areas that are going to be too high pill so that this here doesn't get stuck. And another big difference that no one's talking about is if you compare the DREAME Aqua 10's onboard dirty water tank, which is located right here, you notice that this is going to be completely covered.
Water tank of the robot removed.
Now on your Mova Z60, it's going to be exposed.
Tank of the robot removed.
And because it's exposed, without you having to pull it out, you know how dirty this is, so you know when to clean it. Because between the two, they are basically the same. There's not a huge difference there between the two. But what is different is that you know you have to clean this out the more you use it, because the water level is not going to be completely sucked out all the time. So if this is full of dirty debris, the pump is located on the bottom, but it's not able to remove all the liquid. So you could have dirt and debris and grime build up inside. So you have to clean this. And if you take a closer look and you open both of the units up, you notice that, you know, it's just rearranging some of the components like the filter and the pump inside. But it really comes down to that your Mova is opaque, but still transparent so you know what's going on, versus it is completely covered on your DREAME. Next, let's take a closer look at their clean stations, because the differences just don't lie in their actual units, it's going to lie also in the clean stations themselves. So right off the bat, you notice that your Aqua 10 is going to be taller. It's not going to be as round as the Mova, and the material choice is going to be matte versus a little bit more shiny on your Mova Z60. If we take a closer look at their cleaning stations, the cleaning station for your DREAME Aqua 10 is not going to be fully removable. So this can clean itself, but because this part here is not removable because of a heated bar, you're going to have to clean this out manually, and that's something that you do not have to worry about on your Mova Z60. Your Mova Z60 is coming with a cleaning tray you can just pop out, and this tray, you just take it to the sink and it's going to be fully clean. And then you have just like this area here, which is just going to be like a cover area. But if you want to wipe that down, you can, and everything gets sucked up a straw. On the Aqua 10, because it doesn't have that straw design, everything gets pulled down with gravity, but it also makes it more likely that you'll have some dried stuff or crumbs here, as well as hard water stains more frequently, because it's not fully removable. And even though you're saying, okay, what else is different? You do get a better catch guard on your Mova Z60, because at least they give you a screen for your debris. Here, everything is just getting drained through this kind of webbing, this mesh, plastic mesh they put on their base station. But the DREAME Aqua 10 comes with an ACE card up its sleeve because it's coming with a dirt detection system built in to its clean station, something that your Mova does not come with. So what that means is that if it detects that the dirty water being rinsed out of the roller mop pads is going to be very dirty, it's going to rerun the clean session so that it's going to clean them better. That is a feature that your Mova doesn't necessarily come with. Your Mova, it really just washes it one time, and then you have to decide if you manually wanted to clean the brushes again. And if you're taking a closer look to how their detergent systems work and their bag systems, we're just going to take off the covers. So that's the cover on the DREAME here. It's going to be the cover on the Mova. The Mova is going to have the softer touch for just the cover. So this is going to feel a little bit more premium than the cover that you get on the DREAME, but there is a difference. Your Mova does not have a bag fluffer. So your DREAME is going to be able to heat up the bag up to about 122 degrees, and that's going to be in Fahrenheit, and that's what fluffs up this bag and keeps it just dry. Your Mova does not have that, but do you necessarily need it? That's going to be a choice for you. And then if you're talking about the actual tank system, this is going to be on the DREAME here, and this is going to be on the Mova Z60 here. You pull them out, and even though they don't come with the same stickers, they basically do the same thing, where A is going to be the solution you're using for the mopping, and B is going to be for the odors, and the odors are generally only used when your roller mop pads are being washed. One thing that you will notice is that your DREAME, the tanks are going to be just a ½ liter smaller than what we see from other robot vacuums. So if we take out the dirty water tank here on the Mova, we take out the dirty water tank here on the DREAME. So these can go through water very quickly, but your DREAME will go through water even faster because it has that auto dirt detection. So it will use more water to clean its brush rolls more frequently. So you will find that you have to refill the tanks more often, but it does a better job, slightly better job in cleaning the mop rollers better. When you're comparing the app experience between the DREAME Aqua 10 and the Mova Z60, they're going to look pretty similar. So Aqua 10 here, we're just going to go inside of your device. This is going to be the map it creates. Now, if I go into my settings, if you want to change anything, and I'm going to do a fine-tuning test. So you go to carpet settings, vacuum, you do mop raise, more settings. And here you could decide how you wanted to clean your floors. From clean carpets first, carpet boost, intensive carpet cleaning, side brush rotates on carpet only or always, and you have carpet cleaning with chassis lifted. So you're hoping that you get the same features inside of the Mova app. And you do. So this is going to be our Mova Z60 app. And when you go inside of it, everything looks a little bit better because I think this is the more updated app overall. But when you go inside of your settings again, you go to carpet settings, you notice that it looks exactly the same. Same thing is going to be for your floor clean settings. Same thing is going to be for your pet care. Pet care on your Mova looks like this: pet recognition, pet cleaning, pet moments. And if you go into our DREAME home and I go into my pet care, it also looks about the same, just different pictures, but the experience itself is very similar. So ultimately, what's my verdict on which one's going to be better between the Mova Z60 Ultra and the DREAME Aqua 10 Ultra? Well, the Mova Z60 is going to be the more finished product. Because even if you're looking at the overall build quality, the Mova just looks a little bit slightly better built. And if you're talking about the app, the Mova, even though it doesn't come with as many technological advances as we see from the DREAME, performance is better on the Mova because the Mova simplifies how it navigates your homes just slightly better than what the DREAME does. It makes decisions faster, as well as the base stations and the clean stations have about the same overall performance. So I don't notice that the DREAME Aqua 10 is necessarily drying your mop pads much faster than what you already get with the Mova. I don't notice that the DREAME is cleaning the mop rollers better than what you get with the Mova. In the best case scenario, you're picking up really big messes and cleaning up big messes with your mop on the DREAME Aqua 10, you will notice a difference in terms of how clean those rollers are over time. But the maintenance between the Mova and the DREAME, in my opinion, the Mova is going to be less maintenance because you're getting better battery life. The Mova is going to last you about close to about 2.5 hours of battery life versus about 100 minutes on, because you're getting better battery life with your Mova Z60. I'm averaging close to about 120, 145 minutes with our Mova Z60 versus about 100 minutes on our DREAME Aqua 10. And that's a big deal because your DREAME Aqua 10 can potentially run out of battery life before the session is over, especially if you're using it with mopping. And that's fundamentally because it takes a lot of time to make decisions. It doesn't have the most efficient pathing like we see based on what we saw from the Mova Z60, which just has a more effective pathing navigation. And if you talk about just how well it works, because of this simple thing, this rubber stopper on the side of your Mova, it will outperform the DREAME in terms of overall vacuum performance. Because a lot of people are talking about, well, which one makes more mopping pressure? So your Mova is listed at 17 N of mopping pressure, and your DREAME is listed at 18 N of mopping pressure. But that's only if you have the DREAME Aqua 10 on intensive mopping. So that's going to sit as low as possible to the floor. Your Mova always generally sits as low as possible to the floor on hardwood or hard floors relative to your DREAME. Your DREAME likes to auto adjust itself, so you're not sure it's always getting the maximum amount of pressure, even if you have it set on intensive. Then if you talk about the overall navigation properties, the Mova has the ability to detect large stains that it cannot handle, but it also has the ability to detect large particles that it can handle. Your DREAME will determine that all large stains are going to be large particles. It doesn't have this like unavoidable obstacle detection system where the Mova will see vomit, it'll see an egg, it'll say, "Hi, I'm not going to clean it. It's going to make me too dirty. You got to clean it up first." Your DREAME will try to clean it, and that could be a good thing or a bad thing depending on what you're looking for. So if you have a lot of pets and you want it to be better avoidant for dog poop, your Mova Z60 will be better for dog poop. But ultimately, when you're looking at these premium ultra robo vacuums, the question really has to come down to, is it better than other robo vacuums? Which one is going to be the best for your money? Because robo vacuums have been getting updated so regularly that it's hard to keep up with all the new features. Because eventually, this roller mop pad system that you see on both of these are going to be the standard. So the most important thing, in my opinion, between any robo vacuum is going to be on its predictability, on its reliability, and how well it navigates your floor and how well it finishes every session. And in this case, the Mova Z60 did a better job not only cleaning, but also finishing its sessions. It was just more predictable. All the maps looked the same, all the navigations and the path that it did looked the same. It finishes sessions at roughly the same amount of time. While our DREAME, each session is its own thing. So sometimes it'll take 70 minutes to do the same session as a session that took 90 minutes just a few days ago. So it's a little bit more irregular, it's a little bit less predictable. And I think that's totally related to DREAME partnering or putting in that NVIDIA chip inside so that it's too busy trying to make so many decisions versus the simpler systems like on the Mova Z60, which compared to any other robo vacuum would be super hyper advanced. But compared to the DREAME, it's not as advanced, but it's more effective. So ultimately, if you wanted me to choose for you which one is going to be the best, the Mova Z60 is going to be the better buy than the DREAME Aqua 10. I'm sure that the next generation, the DREAME Aqua 10, is going to come with basically the same features as the Mova Z60, but with even more upgrades. And maybe the DREAME Aqua 20 is going to be better than the Mova Z60. It's going to come down to which one is going to be better for you and which one is going to be a better price. So with that, thanks for watching, everybody. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comment box below, and please hit that like or subscribe button. It really does help support our channel. Both are really good robo vacuums, but I just find that the Mova Z60 is more predictable, and that's what we want with AI. We want some predictability. So with that, thanks for watching, everyone. I'll catch you next time. This is David with the French Glow, signing off. Bye, bye, bye.